Hello folks and welcome back to Medieval Total War. I am Conostip and this is going to be part 36 of my early campaign where I'm playing as Egypt. And in the last episode I did actually finally become the #1 in the leaderboard here in the Glorious Achievements. Yeah, I did surpass the Italians thanks to the efforts of the papacy of all things. And at this point I could, if I wanted to, probably just kind of sit in my realm and pass by the time and win this campaign by default. But there's been some things that I've been tinkering with, and I want to continue to tinker with them because I want to learn sort of a different playstyle, as I've mentioned before. And also, I don't want to leave this campaign like on bad terms. You know, like right now my economy is pretty poor. I'm losing 6,000 per turn. Sure, I do have 300,000 in the treasury, but like, you know, I want things to be okay. I want to leave this world better than it was when I came into it. You know, I want to not just be a ruler that keeps its lands free of Latin Christian rule and Mongol rule, but I also want to leave my land prosperous and wealthy. So I need to get this economy issue under wraps. Now, at the end of the last episode, I sort of insinuated that I was going to use my common tactic of invading foreign lands and getting rid of these enemies that, you know, they're the reason why my economy is tanked, right? The fact that the French and the Mongols and even the Almohads, you know, down here, the fact that they all, you know, by themselves own probably like half of the map. That's half of the map that I'm not trading with. So typically what I'd be doing at this point is invading these regions, or I could use like assassins to get rid of the family line. But typically I would invade these regions and just go on kind of a rampage, either targeting family members or just going on a rampage so that eventually there's going to be a civil war that, you know, causes issues with that faction. So that's usually what I would do, and then that faction falls, and then all of the regions go rebel, and then I start making money again off of those regions. But in this situation, I mean, there's back and forth here between the Mongols and the French still, but you know, the fact that I'm at war with both of them though is yeah, it's really annoying. So it's something that I need to fix, and I had to remind myself, like, okay, let's maybe not do that overseas attack thing, rampage thing, because again, I've done it before. This is what I've used to doing, and let's instead do what I've kind of been talking about, which is reduce the amount of upkeep that I'm paying. You know, maybe reducing my navies. Something that I haven't talked about yet, but it's something that has been on my mind for a while, is that again, for like future playthroughs, something that I have in mind, again, just to kind of like, I don't know, just kind of minimize the amount of, you know, stuff that I'm building all of the time. I sort of create some house rules that, like this is what I'm thinking. For my navies, what I could do is that on the sea regions that do border my own home territories, I can have like stronger boats to defend my home territories, but in the other sea regions, I could just have the tier 1 boats to basically like replicate or simulate trading fleets all over. And of course, I can have my tier 2 boats in the sea regions because only tier 2s can be in sea regions. And then the idea would be that, so like that would be a much reduced fleet compared to what I've been running in all of my campaigns. So the upkeep would be reduced, but my fear is that that would be really inviting a lot of AI attacks and wars against my navy, because that's typically what happens. But then I could sort of like have these fleets that are built up in my sea region, like home territories, and they can kind of go out and stomp some booty and yeah, try to like defend my trading lines. It would be more dynamic and a bit more stressful, I suppose, but like, you know, again, less upkeep and just less stuff in general might be kind of more fun to play with. That's kind of the idea. So do I want to go straight to that here and now? I don't know. I don't know if I'm brave enough to do that quite yet. Same thing with my armies. Like I feel like I have some uses for them right now, which is that I kind of liked in that last little like spout of fights between the Almohads and myself, and also the Mongols and myself. I liked that I had Tunisia here as a buffer for Cyrenaica, which is a homelands province. Tunisia is not. This is just a buffer that, you know, says, hey, Almohads, you want to waste your manpower on this? Fine. I don't need this to score any points. So when the next counting period comes around, which is going to be 1375, when 1375 rolls around, and if they wanted to invade Tunisia on that, you know, that very last turn, fine. You know, have at it. I'm not going to lose any points. It's fine. And however, that wasn't the case up here. You know, Antioch and Edessa in Syria are all homelands objectives. If I lose any of these provinces on that last turn, then yeah, that can be a little bit stressful, because Antioch, I think, is worth 2. Let me check this. Antioch is worth 2, and then Edessa and Arabia are both worth 1. So yeah, I don't want to be losing. Or no, Syria. What's Syria? Syria is also worth 2. So yeah, I don't want to be losing those. Definitely don't want to be losing any of these on that last turn, you know, that 1375. So what I would be wanting to do then is to create a buffer area. Now, I've already tried to attack Lesser Armenia in Rum and Armenia in the past, and it didn't go that well. I think I took one of these provinces and then didn't take the other 2, but I think that it's worth trying again. You know, I may as well try again. I have troops. You know, I got some numbers around. I can put something together and create a task force that can take these provinces. Armenia is going to be the tougher one in this case, I would say. Looks like they have the bigger armies. And there seems to be a fair amount of, I don't know, let's see, like 1 Mongol heavy cav, 1 steppe heavy cav. So 2 heavy cav in total. No heavy cav there. That's a beat up unit, so I'm not going to count that. And like that's a pretty beat up Khwarezmian Mongol heavy cav. So like, I don't know, around like 3 units of heavy cav in total, essentially. It's not too bad. And then the rest is kind of lighter. And also, I sort of want to kind of solve that problem of something that I've been struggling with in this campaign is how do I really build Egyptian armies to counter the Mongols? It's something that when I found out a while back that my Arab infantry, my swordsmen, can't beat the Mongol warriors, the hybrid, you know, archer and swordsman units, my Arab infantry can't beat them one-on-one. So that's a little bit stressful because that's typically the kind of unit that you would think would be good at that. I would assume that my Abyssinian guards can beat Mongol warriors, but that's not really that ideal either because Abyssinian guards are lightly armored and they have no shields. So the Mongol warriors being a hybrid unit, well, what can they do? They can shoot those Abyssinian guards. So what other infantry options can like take on Mongol warriors? Well, I'm sure the Ghazi infantry can also do a decent job, but again, they have sort of the same issue as the Abyssinians. They have a very light armor. At least they have a shield, but I think their armor is like even less than the Abyssinians, I think, off of if my memory serves. And then the Muwahids, I don't know. They're a good offensive spear unit, but they are still a spear unit. And the fact that the Mongol warriors have just been so good at they shock me they surprise me every time. So I would have to do some testing to see if the Muwahids can beat the Mongol warriors, but I do have my doubts. I think the sword-armed Mongol warriors would beat them. So there doesn't seem to be any like infantry solution to quickly killing the Mongol warriors, which leads me to think, okay, well, if it's not going to be infantry, then it needs to be cavalry, right? Okay, fine, but what if the Mongol warriors are going to be in the forest? You know, that's going to be a bit tough. You don't want your cavalry to fight in a forest against infantry. That's a big disadvantage. But, I mean, I suppose I can think, like, maybe all cav is the way to go against the Mongols. It's a little bit counterintuitive because, you know, the Mongols are the all cav kind of army. But, you know, they're not necessarily built like that. They could be, I suppose, but they're not always built like that. They often are built like this, you know, with naphtha throwers and mercenary, like urban militia, peasants, you know, handgunners, like stuff that's a little bit lighter. So it's not always going to be the heavy cav that you sort of think when you're fighting the Mongols, and of course the horse archers as well, which are like the Mongol warriors, a very good hybrid unit. So yeah, that's a little bit tough. But the thing is that I can sort of picture how I can counter the Mongol horse archers, I suppose. Whereas the Mongol warriors seem just a little bit, yeah, like they kind of beat their counters, their natural counters, I suppose. So it's worth brainstorming, I suppose. It's something that it's like a problem that I want to solve. And I did like, what was that last battle that I fought? Was that against the Almohads? Where I was using like an all-cav army? Or no, was that in Antioch? That was Antioch, wasn't it? I think so. Because I brought an all-cav army and camels, and that felt fun. That felt like legitimately like pretty good. So maybe that's the route to go. I don't know. I feel like also, you know what? Now that I'm like, oh yeah, you know what? This is sort of like, you know, counterintuitive, but like the Egyptians have their own hybrid unit, which is very good on the attack. And that's the Nizaris. Do I have any of those? Yeah, these guys. Yeah, this is like the version of the Mongol warriors, but I think they're better than the Mongol warriors. You know, as a hybrid unit, they have a pretty good attack and charge stats. I think it's light armor, light defense. Yes. Yeah, that'd be interesting to see who wins that fight. The Nizaris or the Mongol warriors. Yeah, that's probably the answer. So maybe that's what I do then, is to bring Nizaris. I don't know where they fit in on that cav army, or that mostly cav army. I did really like that. I liked, you know, the Mamluk horse archers, the Mamluk cavalry, the Khwarezmians, the Ghulams. I even brought camels just as an insurance against the Mongol cavalry, and I thought it was fun. I thought that was really fun. But maybe bringing Nizaris in reserves is like a good move, like Nizaris and Saracens, perhaps, or even Nizaris and maybe Muwahids. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that's worth thinking about. That might be how I build up my next, you know, anti-Mongol army. And yeah, I should think of, yeah, I'll look at like building some armies to take on Lesser Armenia and Rum and Armenia. And yeah, I will go back to like thinking, I think I want to go back to leaving just a garrison here in Tunisia. Perhaps. Or do I want to build something? Do I want to build a citadel in Barbican? That's a pretty strong defensive upgrade. So that might be kind of fun. Yeah, I can put that in. And maybe just leave 2 stacks here to garrison Tunisia. Just because 2 stacks can probably beat whatever they throw. You know, the Almohads seem like they've gotten pretty weak. I have gone looking for a new governor for Antioch, and I may have found my man, although he is not without question marks, and I think it's going to be pretty obvious upon seeing him what I mean by that. Yeah, not great. 1 loyalty is not great. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 acumen, not freaking bad. Yeah, sound business thinking in the past has allowed this man to prosper more than most. If left to his own devices, he would probably be quite an affluent merchant by now. But this man is likely to be the cause of many of your problems, both at home and abroad. Remove him, and you will probably solve many of your rebellion difficulties. Well, I think if I keep him in a stack with all these other governors, it might be okay. And well, actually, this is like governors and generals. These guys are just governors, so that's kind of how I'm separating it right now. Yeah, I think I want him. What does Antioch's governorship give? It gives loyalty and piety, does it? And income right now is at 2,500, so if I give it to him, should be a good boost. up to 4,400, so that's a good boost. Now his loyalty is up to 2. Again, not great. It could be better, although this is a new Sultan. So he, yeah, like 5 influence is like okay, but it's probably less than his dad. So this governor probably did lose some loyalty perhaps when this man became in charge, maybe. So if we continue to build stuff and he gets the great builder trait, that's going to give loyalty boost to all generals and all governors. So maybe that's what he needs, is a little bit of a boost from that, perhaps. For now, though, I can just put him in the stack and it should be fine. Yeah, he's not going to be in charge of that. There's no way. There's no way. All right, let's move the Sultan back to Arabia. And he has no kids. His heirs are just going to be his 2 brothers. His 3 brothers, Prince Asali and Prince Nasir and Prince Khalil. And I think 2 of them are here. And then one of them is over here leading the garrison in Cyrenasia. Okay. Yeah, that's okay. I'm fine with my family members playing more of an active role in the defense of the nation. That's something that I want to get used to doing as well. Because when family members are in charge of their own stacks, they end up gaining traits. Whereas when they just are babysat by their dad the entire time, they don't get any of their own traits during their lifetimes. Which can be a good or bad thing. But, you know, it's a boring thing to do. So, yeah, it can be. I don't know. I'm looking for more dynamism in my campaigns. Now I have just spent a long time just moving my armies about and trying to fine-tune certain things and getting units trained up. But if I want to actually get those builder traits for my new Sultan, I do need to, you know, build stuff. So that's something that I've sort of, you know, let slide for a little while here because, yeah, I guess it hasn't been too important to me recently. But yeah, let's just build stuff in places just to try to get those traits going. Sinai, what do you want here in Sinai? Armor's Workshop, probably not. Spearmaker, yeah, maybe. It's just cheap and easy to build. You get a Spearmaker. Yeah, why not? Palestine, what about you? Do you guys want to get a Boyar's Workshop? Why not? Again, it's cheap. Doesn't take long to build. Tripoli, what about you? Boyar, just a tier 1 or a horse farmer or anything? Do you guys want anything? Yeah, horse farmer, 2 years. 2 turns to build that. And Arabia. Yeah, let's do I get anything for this? Possible upgrades, town militia. Yeah, I don't get anything for the militia buildings as the Egyptians. Like once I get the urban militia, that's going to be it, eh? Yeah, no point in getting that, I suppose. I think that the top tier militia building does give me +1 valor to my urban militia, but again, like what's the point really? So yeah, Boyar's Workshop, why not? Syria, what about you, Syria? You Fortress and Culverin Towers? Yeah, why not? I wanted to kind of experiment and see the differences between the defensive outputs of these different fortifications, but I think we're a little bit past that by this point. Let's just kind of build stuff just to build stuff. So, yep, Town Watch, 2 years, why not? And then over here, building a ribat is a little bit concerning in my frontier provinces because it will get automatically destroyed if it gets invaded. Although, I mean, I'm not going to invade. Edessa's fine. Like, no one's going to be invading Edessa. So, let's go ahead and build that back up. And that's another thing that I like about the idea of having these buffer territories, because then I don't need them to have these religious buildings like the mosque and the ribat, you know, and the administrative buildings that will just get destroyed automatically if they ever get invaded. I can just kind of focus on like frontier stuff, like, you know, inns, defensive structures, maybe some building structures, basic stuff like that, I suppose. And let's not forget the islands as well. May as well keep getting stuff here. Master Foundry. Why? Actually, I don't know. It's going to take a while to build. That's okay. work on the Master Foundry. You are getting a Master Gunsmith here in Rhodes so that I can get the +1 Valor to my gunner units. And then Crete, do you want anything? Yeah, let's get a Rabat there as well. And Malta, you can just have a Fort in Amat. Yeah, that looks okay. It would be nice if the Sicilians re-emerged here in Sicily. That'd be really dope. Loyalty is only at 90%, so fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Yep, we'll see. Okay, that's enough tinkering around for now. So let's drop a save. Let's end this turn. Here we are a couple of turns later, and it is now the year 1353, so it is now officially 100 turns until the end of this campaign. And yeah, I don't want to, drag it out too much, but yes, of course I do want to continue, doing things the right way here. So for now, I am still retraining units. It's taking me longer than I had anticipated. I don't really have the cavalry to recreate those cav forces that I used to attack Antioch. I don't have that much, cavalry to form a single army for Assyria and Edessa and Antioch to attack into Lesser Armenia, Rum, and Armenia. So, yeah, that's taking a little while. And I'm also sort of reconfiguring my garrisons as well to leave behind in these settlements, in these fortifications. So yeah, that's taken a while. I guess it's a good thing that I'm working on getting the builder traits for my Sultan, just because I suppose at this point I really should just have provinces that can train anything anywhere, right? Because the fact that I'm depending on most of my melee to come from Palestine and most of my archers to come from Sinai, and I have Khwarezmians coming from Cyprus and guns coming from Rhodes. But it's a little bit too segmented. It's a little bit too specialized. So I think that having a broader base to train from is going to be better. So I am working on getting that fixed up as well. So I'm building some more buildings, and I still have the money for it. My income's a little bit better, minus 4,000, so not as bad as it was. Having that good governor in Antioch is helping, and yeah, I don't think anything's really changed on the geopolitical scale. I think that that's still all of the same. But as long as no one's blockading me, that's fine. Although, oh gosh, there's no boats on the water. That's the thing. And that is tempting to do what I just said. To, really just have, cut down on my fleets essentially. That would save me some money. And yeah, I may as well do it. So what am I thinking? Booms and sea regions that border my home territories, because those are my strongest boats. And then Bagalas and the deep sea regions, which is going to be the central Mediterranean, right? Central Mediterranean and Western Mediterranean and the Atlantic Ocean. And then just DAOs and all of the other regions. That's what I have in mind. So yeah, let's get to it. So I've begun the process of reorganizing my navies, and this is going to take quite some time, obviously, to get this in order. And I'm not ready to start disbanding boats right away because I want to see what kind of a reaction, if any, there's going to be from the other AI factions. But this is kind of what it's going to look like. I have my booms in the territories that do border my coastal regions. I do want to have DAOs also in my coastal regions, next to my own territories, just because they are fast enough to catch any other boat. I think the booms are, yeah, speed of 2... Speed of 3 for the DAOs. Yeah, having a DAO just to catch something is going to be useful. But then having all the Bagalas in the deep sea regions is what that's going to be. Now, not this many. I'm going to half this number, but not yet. Just, it's just going to be a handful. Kind of like a quick reaction force that can kind of reach out and deal with hotspots as they arise. Is the idea with having the Bagalas and the deep sea regions. So that's what I have here, here, and then also here. And then, yeah, it's going to be like the further I get away, it's going to be less, you know, I'm going to have less power, right? No booms out in the northern sea regions. Baglas in the Atlantic, again, now I won't have this many, but, you know, some there. But then just DAOs just to trade with in the northern sea regions. And I think that's going to be kind of a thematic idea, you know, kind of a thematic thing. So I kind of like the idea of having like localized power in the Mediterranean if you are a Mediterranean faction. But then like, what are you doing with booms just kind of hanging out in the northern sea regions? Like that's not really, you know, it doesn't, what would you, like how, you know, how would that be the case? If you have no bases up here, then what are you doing? Like what's a boom, what's a warship doing this far away from home? So yeah, I like that idea. You know, as far as how it plays, I don't know. I guess I'll find out. Because here, like the Danish boat, like one of the only boats that's on the ocean right now, if they wanted to be real cunts about it, they could just, you know, start a war with me. And there goes 3 more regions that I'm not trading with. So there's a definite drawback to this, but maybe it could still be okay just from all of the upkeep that I will be saving as well. And if the Danes do want to start a war, I can always like break contact, get this auto ceasefire, and then possibly go back in to start trading with them. Like once I've destroyed all their fleets, essentially, maybe is kind of the idea with that. So yeah. All right. That's kind of the idea. I just wanted to kind of show you what I was working on. And as I mentioned, it's going to be still a few more turns before I feel ready, you know, to start making cuts, because yeah, it's going to be kind of a brave thing for me to do here. Yeah, lots of tinkering, lots of experimentation in this campaign so far. I like it. I like it. But again, I don't want this to drag on too long. I just wanted to try new things here. All right, let's drop a save and yeah, get down to, yeah, what do we have? 99 turns left now in this campaign. Oh, and just like that, another French crusade is on their way. I wonder where they're headed. Antioch, Tripoli, what's it going to be? Byzantines are going to be retreating here in Carpathia. The fact that this, like the original Byzantines are still alive is insane to me. Unrest in Peroslaval, yay. And I have the largest military force. Okay, yes, hopefully I can fix that at some point. And yeah, the Pope is calling for crusade against me, and yes, okay. Inquisition in Poland, and yep, just building some more buildings to try to get that builder trait. I haven't gotten it yet. And yes, it's marching on Tripoli. Interesting. Okay. And rhyme sparse. So Francisco Petrarca was born in Arezzo, Italy. Since that time, he has traveled widely, been well educated, and enjoyed the good life. This has not stopped him from becoming a poet of distinction, all inspired by the beauty of one woman, whom he calls Laura in his works. These distracting poems caused at least minus 10% zeal in much of northern Italy. Okay, well, I got to get my hands on one of those because, yeah, that sounds pretty fun. Now, let's see, what do we got here? Amir, one of my governors, +2 acumen, that's awesome. More money, that helps. And any starred generals. Any starred generals. Let's see, I'm not seeing... And builder, finally. So that's +10 happiness, but that's not going to be the loyalty one. I need the second to builder trait to get the loyalty boost. Well, you know what? I think that we can all agree that this is probably too many Bagalas per each deep sea region. So yeah, let's just go ahead. Let's just like half this. Yeah, support cost of 25, and that's for these guys, which are actually closer to my my ports. So the support cost is going to be less. But once I start disbanding the Baglas, like we can keep half a stack, like why not? We're just, for now. We don't need to go too crazy. But then, yeah, here, same thing. Boom, let's keep the booms. I'm fine with that. These ones also cost 25. Yeah, I guess because Tunisia's right there. So again, the support cost isn't too high. But I'm curious to see what I'm paying for the Baglas that are up in the Atlantic Ocean. Okay, down to half a stack there. And then what about this? What am I paying? Yeah, 50 per. Yeah, okay. So let's get rid of like basically a whole stack's worth because I want to get rid of these guys, and then yeah, that's that too. So that's too many, I think. Watch me be wrong, but yeah, let's get rid of these guys. See if that makes my economy look a little bit healthier. Okay, what is that gonna look like? So now we're losing 2,500. So before it was like 3,500 or something like that. So that's good. That's a good little chunk. And we can like, you know, do even more. But for now, let's just kind of leave it at that. That's fine for now. I don't want to go too crazy. Really, it comes down to military spending at this point. I think that, yeah, this can be reduced by quite a bit. But for now, again, I'm just kind of hanging on to stuff for now just because I do want to make a foray into the Mongolian territory, and having some troops at hand will be nice for that reason. So, yeah, let's like keep this for now. And then once I make that push into these territories, I'm still working on getting my cav forces together. My goodness, it's taking ages, I know, but I'm just kind of waiting on basically like a handful of regions to retrain everything. So, yeah, it's okay. We got plenty of time. And now my Sultan has finally got the Great Builder, so +1 loyalty to all generals. That's going to help, I think. I wonder how his influence is looking. Yeah, his influence is pretty good. Yeah, sweet. And so that does go up, even like when it's not during the counting periods. Let's see, I'm trying to remember. Because yeah, he had already become Sultan, I think, in the exact year of the year 1350. And so influence does go up without taking any territories, just by basically holding homelands, I think. And it doesn't need to happen just during the county periods. It can just happen like, you know, just in general during any normal year. So that's interesting. That's something that I've been looking at over basically my entire time playing Medieval Total War, because it's something that was never talked about. Like in no sources anywhere that I've seen has anyone said that you can gain influence just by holding your homelands. And as your homelands increase, you gain influence faster. And I think that goes for like any of your other GA objectives as well, I think. And yeah, it's like people would say like you gain influence by taking territory, or you gain influence by helping an ally in a siege. And it's like, okay, how often does that happen? You know, it's like never. Or jihads and crusades, like, okay, that's fair. But it always felt like, you know, influence increased also like on its own, which I don't think it's on its own. I think it's just that it increases like if you have enough like points that you're making. So if you're hanging on to not a few territories, if you're being very defensive in the beginning of the campaign, like I typically am, I think that influence can be a bit hard to come by. But then as you get further on in your campaign and things start to pile on, I think that it does start to really rack up pretty fast. So yeah, within just a few turns of becoming the Sultan, he's already like up to max influence, which is pretty gosh darn good. Yeah, that feels pretty nice. All right. Let's see. So we didn't, obviously a pretty dry episode, I understand. But we've been getting some battles in the previous episodes, and I felt like I was only getting like one turn done per episode, so it kind of felt nice to have another one of these. I feel like it's been a little while, so it always feels nice for me to get some of the busy work done, I suppose, and you know, again, take a peek at my garrisons and just kind of see how those want to look. And I think going forward, as I've just been like, you know, fine-tuning armies to attack the Mongols, really, you know what? I'm thinking, so here's what you can just do. If you want to attack someplace and you have 1 million armies, you can just send all of your armies, push the enemy back. You won't get a fight, but you can push them back. You can take the territory. Sometimes you can take it basically for free because they won't even retreat to the garrison. They will just abandon the territory completely. And that can be nice because that can be a nice buffer in these three provinces. Now, except for Rum, I will have to fight for Rum because Rum is being held by rebels and they have no place to retreat to. So I will have to fight for that. And they do have, 4 stacks in Rum, so that is not nothing. But I think that is even more reason to like all-out blitz Lesser Armenia and Armenia. Just because I know the last couple of times I fought all of those battles in one episode, even just like, you know, one per, you know, episode, still takes a bit of time, but fighting all of them those are such long recording sessions. And I know I don't have to do it like that, but still, it might be time to kind of like get things going here, you know, in this campaign and start to wrap things up. So in this, for this, one battle's fine, I think. One battle's fine. If the Mongols want to regroup and counterattack, okay, let them come. I want to build up my buffer regions, and then start to look at my armies and start to look at, you know, what I want to disband. Something that I was essentially looking at before this counting period, but then I kind of realized, oh shoot, I need to have enough armies to defend my territories during this counting period. So yes, let's keep them, which I did. And now I'm back to thinking, let's get rid of some armies. Now I do have a French Crusade that's on its way. So obviously I need to kind of like make sure that I'm fine against that. But I think that that's what can happen, right? They're going to be here in just a few turns, and then I can just send the all-out blitz against whatever province is holding that French Crusade, which is not going to be able to attack us because it's just, they're never going to be strong enough. They have some Knights Templar. That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's pretty badass. And Chivalric Sergeants and Arbalesters. Interesting. All right, that's pretty weak. Royal Knights. The Royal Knights look so badass in their late form. The late period Royal Knights. Yeah, they look pretty awesome. Check out these peasants with the silver shields and the weapon upgrades. Oh ho ho. Yeah, it's fun. As I've been learning more and more about the Middle Ages, the time period, and it's kind of interesting. It's just, I don't know, it's just everything. These games are so much better if you just kind of know a little bit about it. And I know like nothing. But just learning a little bit about it. Currently, I'm listening to a podcast about the Baltic Crusades, and I'm learning a little bit about the Teutonic Knights, and oh, it's so cool. It's so fun. I have a stack of books behind my PC of just like, because I'm, you know, my channel's focus is on Rome right now, so I'm trying to catch up on that and learn more about the Age of Antiquity. So I just have like a stack of books about Rome, and I haven't touched them. Oh God, I've just been so busy. I can't find time to read, which sucks, but I have time for podcasts, which is awesome. But yeah, in any case, that's a little off topic, but you guys know what's going to be coming next. Blitzing these 3 provinces when the French Crusade comes and setting up a buffer region. And yeah, in any case, that's all going to have to wait until next time. As always, I hope you have enjoyed this one, and thank you very much for watching. This has been Concept playing Medieval Total War. Thank you very much, and goodbye.